Hey Room 10 kids, it's Mr. Nate here with your Google Classroom video, and I'm going to apologize up front because the video, this one's going to be a little bit longer than some of the other ones that I've done, but I want to give you some understanding of what you're looking at here. I'm going to pan out and show you, I am essentially out in the middle of nowhere in the town of Kingsbury, not far from Hudson Falls, and I'm going to show you a cool artifact here behind me. Right? And this artifact has to deal with the Underground Railway. Now, the Underground Railroad, I have to get into some a very touchy subject, is that you find out as you get a little bit older, right, that not all American history is about unicorns and rainbows, right? That there are some, as this car is going by, unpleasant topics that sometimes we have to delve into. And one of those unpleasant topics is slavery. And right from the beginning in America's history in 1776, and when we won our independence from Great Britain in 1789, slavery did exist in America. And slavery in American context really meant that if you were born not having white skin, that if you had dark skin and you were black, there was a good chance that you were going to be made a slave, and you were going to live a very hard and brutal life, especially if you lived in a state like South Carolina in America. That meant that you were picking cotton on a plantation day in and day out for your whole life until the day that you died under brutal, brutal conditions. If you didn't do what you were told, they would hurt you. And this is a very sad legacy in America, but the artifact behind me inspires me with a little bit of hope too, because from the beginning of America's history too, there were people that thought that slavery was wrong. There were black people and white people on both sides of the issue that, were determined to try to end slavery. And one of the networks that they set up to try to end slavery was the Underground Railroad. And just so you kids know, when I say Underground Railroad, I don't mean an actual literal railroad. This was like a secret setup where people would give safe haven to slaves trying to escape north up into Canada to get their freedom, because even when states like New York abolished slavery, in which New York did in 1827, it was still illegal to help people escape slavery. Now watch out for the traffic here. And so people had to do it secretly. And they set up a network called the Underground Railroad, and they even had their own language. They would say that they would call themselves conductors. And what these places were there were homes that secretly helped people try to escape to freedom, that would help these escaped slaves get up into Canada. And they might keep them in their basement, for example, or their attic, and give them food and shelter and water and clothing and blankets for their long trip north. A lot of the escaped slaves would travel along the Hudson River and link up with Lake Champlain and take them right into Canada. And that's one of the methods they used. And so I'm going to show you a very up close about what this artifact is behind me, and go into a little bit more detail for you kids. Okay? Bye.